The scream ripped through the quiet afternoon. "Daddy, it burns." I dropped the sandwich I was making and sprinted outside. My daughter, Ellie, sat frozen in her wheelchair, face streaked with tears, her clothes soaked in blue and purple paint. Her easel was overturned, her brushes scattered across the porch, and standing over her was Victoria Langston, the HOA president, with a clipboard in one hand and smug satisfaction in her eyes. She had no idea the girl she just assaulted belonged to the new county sheriff. We had only moved to Briarwood Hills a few weeks earlier. I kept my badge quiet. Ellie was 14 and still recovering from a devastating car accident that left her paralyzed. My wife, Lauren, took a teaching job at the local school, and I thought we could quietly start over. But that hope vanished the moment Victoria decided a disabled girl painting landscapes was an eyesore. That morning had felt like a breakthrough. Ellie hadn't picked up a brush in 8 months. When she whispered that she wanted to paint the mountains, I helped carry out her supplies. She really smiled for the first time since the crash. "The light's perfect today," she said. I texted Lauren a photo of Ellie working. "Progress," I wrote. Then everything fell apart. Victoria's white SUV screeched to a halt at our curb. She marched up, barking about HOA Regulation 15B, no unsightly activities visible from the street. Ellie tried to explain she was just painting. Victoria didn't care. With a dramatic sweep, she knocked the easel aside and sent the paint flying. Thick, oil-based colors splashed across Ellie's face, soaking into her wheelchair cushion and dripping into her eyes. She screamed. I rushed to her side, wiping her eyes with a garden towel. The paint reeked of harsh chemicals. "What kind of paint is this?" I demanded. "How should I know?" Victoria sneered. "Maybe follow the rules next time." Lauren arrived just minutes after I called, still wearing her teacher's badge. Her face went pale seeing Ellie's swollen eyes and paint-covered clothes. "We need to go? Now." The ER was a blur. Eye flushes, chemical tests, nurses whispering about potential damage. Ellie clutched our hands, trembling from pain. "You got here just in time," the doctor said. "Any later, and we'd be talking about permanent vision loss." Her wheelchair was ruined. The cushion, motor controls, everything saturated. Replacing it would cost $6,000, money we didn't have after months of medical bills. Back home, Ellie retreated into silence. She wouldn't eat. She wouldn't go outside. She wouldn't touch a paintbrush. Her nightmares returned, screams in the middle of the night about drowning in paint. Every bit of progress we'd made was erased in seconds. I couldn't let it go, not just for Ellie, but for every neighbor who whispered about fines, threats, and aesthetic violations. I dug into the HOA's finances. Turns out Victoria had been siphoning thousands into a fake maintenance company owned by her husband, Bruce Langston, a real estate developer with deep political ties. The deeper I looked, the uglier it got. Elderly homeowners fined for holiday lights. Single parents harassed over toys in the yard. Minority families targeted over parked cars and lawn decorations. Meanwhile, Victoria's inner circle got a free pass. I started meeting with residents quietly, away from the neighborhood. Mr. Herrera, a disabled vet, was fined $750 for installing a flagpole honoring his son, who died overseas. Mrs. Whitaker, a widow on a fixed income, had to sell her home after being fined over a ramp she built to accommodate her arthritic knees. Dr. Sanders, the only black family in the subdivision, had racked up 8 citations for their son shooting hoops in his own driveway. It wasn't about rules, it was targeted bullying. We gathered evidence. Photos, notices, bank statements. Then came the HOA meeting. Lauren sat beside me, gripping my hand. Victoria took the floor, calling out my address for multiple violations: a painting easel, a wheelchair ramp, hostile behavior. I stood up calmly. "You're referring to my daughter painting the mountains, our ADA-compliant ramp, and my objection to you assaulting her." She tried to pivot to bylaws. I pivoted to fraud. I motioned to the projector. For the last 2 years, over $90,000 of HOA fees were funneled to Langston Property Services with zero competitive bidding. Murmurs spread. I showed permit records, none existed. And the properties foreclosed? All sold below market value to your husband's firm. Faces in the crowd turned from confused to furious. "You're out of line," Bruce barked from the back. I pulled out my badge. "Sheriff Ryan Callahan, County Jurisdiction. I've subpoenaed your bank records, emails, and real estate filings. But I've also got something else." My deputy rolled in a TV. The screen lit up with security footage. Victoria standing on our porch, knocking paint all over a wheelchair-bound teenager. "You assaulted a disabled child," I said, voice shaking. "You caused chemical burns, destroyed medical equipment, and shattered months of rehabilitation. That's not just immoral. It's criminal." Victoria went pale. "You can't use your job to do this. It's a conflict of interest." "I'm not here as sheriff," I said. "I'm here as Ellie's father. But tomorrow morning, I'll be filing charges for assault, fraud, and conspiracy." Bruce grabbed her arm. Meeting adjourned. But before they could leave, Mrs. Whitaker stood up. "According to the bylaws, we need a motion." She raised her cane. "I move to dissolve this board immediately." Dozens of hands shot up. Victoria's reign was over. By Tuesday, Victoria and Bruce were in handcuffs, frog marched past reporters. Charges were filed. The DA confirmed everything: fraud, assault on a disabled minor, abuse of HOA power. But what happened afterward is what mattered most. The community came alive. Neighbors gathered on our lawn. Ellie's classmates sent cards. Someone gifted her professional art supplies. Mr. Takashi from the local auto shop restored her wheelchair, airbrushing the backrest with a beautiful mountain scene. And that weekend, the HOA hosted its first ever community art day in the park. Ellie hesitated at first. Then one little boy rolled up beside her in his wheelchair and asked if she'd help him paint. "I'm not sure I'm very good," she said. "Better than us," laughed Dr. Sanders, showing off his messy canvas. Ellie smiled, and then she painted. A month later, the new board adopted changes. Flags allowed. Ramps no longer need approval. Cultural decorations protected. Kids allowed to be kids. Ellie's painting off mountains surrounded by homes of every shape and color became the new logo for Briarwood Hills. Victoria got 3 years. Bruce's company folded. But none of that mattered more than when Ellie wheeled up beside me one evening and said, "Dad, I'm glad we didn't move." I looked across the lawn where neighbors waved and laughed. "Me too, sweetheart," I said. "Me too."